Moving on, I would like to invite Palash Nandy, CEO, Numeric, for his keynote on digital acceleration. As CEO, Palash drives Numeric to be more customer-centric and continually improve efficiency in its operations. Aligning the whole organization towards the stated objectives, he seeks to consolidate Numeric's leadership position by launching new products, targeting new market segments, and leading the transformation of the organization. Inviting Palash.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, first of all, to DataQuest for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences. And today I would like to talk a little bit about what we call as digital acceleration for enhancing experience. You know, when we were hit with COVID mid of March 2020, in the beginning, it was really a big shock. It was a shock because of that we were facing a challenge for which we did not really have a template to help us to decide what is to be done, because this was something completely unseen in the past, and therefore we did not have a template. So of course, the first few days was a bit of a shock. And then we realized that, this has happened. We will have to respond to it. Since there is no template, so we will have to learn as we go along. And then we have to figure out the strategy as we go along. And while we were doing that, it also gave us an opportunity to really step back a little bit, refocus on what we really want to do, figure out what is the strategy that should be for the future. And when we went through this exercise, we also realized that this lockdown also gave us a lot of opportunities. It gave an opportunity for having different business models, as an example, but also gave us an opportunity to ensure that we become stronger as an organization. And one of the aspects was the digital transformation of the organization. So this is something that we started a few years back. And the goal of our digital transformation has always been that how can we use digital to create the numeric experience? And how can that experience be the best experience for the customer, for our own employees, as well as for all the stakeholders? So while this progress was going on as far as the digital transformation was concerned, the lockdown period just gave us an opportunity to really enhance this or to accelerate this digital transformation. And we decided that we will go around this subject by focusing on 3 pillars. So pillar number 1, what can we do about customer experience? How we bring the product to the market? How do we launch a product? How do we train customers? How can we use, let's say, the digital technology to create a new sort of experience for the customer as far as the products is concerned or the services are concerned? Then the next pillar was what we called as operational excellence. So here it is all about how can we automate all the processes, Industry 4.0, etc., etc. And then the third pillar was about employee experience. That from the time an employee gets inducted into the organization till the time he or she retires or leaves the organization, how can we manage this whole life journey of an employee within the organization, and how can we give the best experience using digital? So these are the 3 pillars that we started to work on: customer experience, operational excellence, and employee experience. Let me give you a quick glance about one particular aspect of customer experience that we were able to implement during the lockdown. In our business, service is a very, very important piece of our business. Okay? Almost 50% of our revenue comes from service. And in the UPS business, service is as important as the product, if not more important. So therefore, for an organization to be successful, you need to have a very, very strong service organization. And over a period of time, Numeric has been able to build a really strong service infrastructure. Just to give you some facts, we work with around 70,000 contracts, service contracts, which has around 250,000 products under contract across 1,000 cities. So this just gives you an idea about the scope. And as a consequence of this massive scope, we do around something close to 600,000 service calls a year with the help of 1,200 people who are spread across 255 service centers. So massive organization and a big strength for Numeric. But what was also clear to us that if we constantly do not keep on improving the service infrastructure, this big strength could also become a big weakness. So we have been working on how can we use digital to further enhance the service experience of our customers. And we went around in 3 steps, basically. So the first step, which was, I would say, relatively the most easiest one, which is how can we give all the possible information that a customer needs at any point of time to him or her without being dependent upon a Numerican to get that information. So which is why, whether in terms of a website, whether in terms of a 24/7 helpline, an e-catalog, a configurator, or let's say a service center locator. So all of this was made available to our customers so that they get all the necessary information in real time without depending upon a particular Numerican. So once this step was done, then the second step was to ensure that this whole service infrastructure that we have really gets digitalized. And which is when we started to partner with Salesforce to implement a CRM for service at Numeric. And this, within the Legrand Group, it was the biggest CRM program. And I'm sure even for Salesforce in India, this would be one of the biggest programs that they would have done in India. We are talking about 1,200 people on this program, 1,200 licenses. These 1,200 people are spread across 240 cities. And we had to go through 33,000 man-hours of training to implement this. So imagine all of this was happening when the lockdown was in place. Okay. This, at some point of time for us, was unimaginable that we would be able to do all of this. But when you have a difficulty, it also throws up a lot of challenges, but it also gives you opportunities to overcome those challenges. And we were able to ensure that this implementation is done during the lockdown period. So all of this training was done with all of those 1,200 people in their respective homes. And we were still being able to train those people and ensure that by September of 2020, we went online. The scope of the CRM was massive, whether we were talking about contract management, whether we were talking about inventory management, call management, expense management, et cetera. And the benefits that we were seeing was both internal as well as external. Internal, it would be in terms of increasing productivity, increasing efficiency, having a 360 view of the business in real time. And all of this would ensure that as far as the customer is concerned, there would be minimum amount of downtime, therefore more business continuity, and therefore that much more satisfaction. So this was a second step. So first step was, as I said, relatively easier, which was to make available all the information. Second step was the CRM. And since September till now, it's been a massive, massive success internally as well as externally. And while all of this was happening, we also realized that this is a time when we could go a little bit ahead and to really up the game, so to say. And therefore, parallelly, we were starting to work on many other initiatives using the digital technology. One being remote monitoring, which means that I, as a customer, or you as a customer of Numeric, you can really monitor all your assets across the country in real time. You can not only monitor them, but also ensure that if there is some problem, to take corrective actions. So this is something that we would implement in the coming weeks, months. We are also working on developing a visual remote monitoring tool or a visual remote assistance tool that would help customers get in touch with us. And even if we are somewhere remote, we would be able to help him or her in terms of giving a solution by using visual aids in real time. The third thing that we are working on is making some self-diagnostic tools that the customers can utilize themselves. And with these three combinations, which is the remote monitoring, the visual remote, the remote visual tool, as well as the self-monitoring tool, this would enhance the service by leaps and bounds. Why? Because it will ensure that there would be minimum amount of downtime, because whenever there is a problem, first of all, before a problem occurs, you can know that there is a problem about to happen thanks to remote monitoring. Even if after that some problem does happen, because of this remote visual tool as well as the self-diagnostic tools, you would be able to quickly solve the problem and therefore have less and less of downtime. Less downtime means more business continuity. More business continuity means more profits as far as our customers are concerned. But for me, the most important aspect as a consequence of all of this is the fact that we are going to make a radical shift in terms of how service is approached. So far, service has been more reactive, okay? That you have a problem, and then how do you, let's say, have your infrastructure ready to ensure that when there is a problem, how quickly you solve the problem. But at the end of the day, it's still reactive. What if instead of the service being reactive, it becomes proactive? It becomes predictive. So you don't wait for a problem to occur, but you are able to predict that a problem is going to happen 2 days from now, 1 week from now, a few hours from now, and therefore able to solve the problem even before the problem has occurred. So this is going to be a real radical shift in terms of the way service is visualized. And this is what we are trying to achieve as a consequence of all of these steps, and I'm sure our customers would be greatly benefited. And as a consequence, we will move from being really customer service and move to what I can say as a customer delight. Coming back to where I started from is that this COVID-19 brought a lot of challenges. But at the same time, it also opened doors for many opportunities. And this has been the beauty of our experience as far as the COVID-19 has been concerned, that on one side we suffered, the business suffered, but on the other side, we also were able to utilize this period of time to emerge stronger as an organization. I hope this was an interesting insight for you. Thank you once again, DataQuest, for giving us the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Palash, for that wonderful presentation.